We often assume that constitutional governance began in marble halls and European salons. But what if one of its most enduring blueprints was forged in council fires, clan obligations, and moral restraint long before the United States existed? Here is the counterintuitive truth. One of the most sophisticated constitutional systems in North America was designed by a people the modern world once tried to erase. As we travel into the story of the Cherokee Nation, we're not just uncovering a forgotten chapter of political history, we're confronting a deeper question about legitimacy, institutional integrity, and how societies rise from crisis without losing their soul. Welcome to Nations and Notions. Here, we explore how societies are shaped not only by power or policy, but by moral choices, collective psychology, and institutional trust. Each episode looks beneath the surface, examining how values, culture, and leadership influence national resilience, recovery from crisis, and long-term legitimacy. This is a space for curious minds who want to go beyond the headlines and understand the deeper forces behind why nations endure, adapt, or fracture. Join us on the journey. Discover the psychology behind nations. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Your front row seat to the forces shaping our world begins here. Today, we journey together into Cherokee governance, not as a relic of the past, but as a living system of ideas that shaped, challenged, and even prefigured modern constitutional power. When most people hear Cherokee, they think of forced removal, broken treaties, and the Trail of Tears. Those memories matter deeply, but they are not the whole story. What often goes unrecognized is how the Cherokee responded to catastrophe, not with collapse, but with institutional innovation. We are here to explore origins and turning points, clan systems and councils, law codes and constitutions. But more importantly, we are here to examine the psychology beneath them, how a society understands authority, how it preserves cohesion, and how it negotiates moral choices under existential pressure. This is not a story of imitation. It is a story of synthesis, of indigenous values adapting to global forces without surrendering their ethical core. As we move through this journey together, we'll see how Cherokee governance offers enduring lessons about national strength, legitimacy, societal cohesion, and the long arc of resilience. Long before constitutions were written, governance among the Cherokee was already deeply institutional. Authority did not flow from conquest or divine kingship. It emerged from relationship between clans, between generations, and between people and land. Cherokee society was organized around clans, not individuals. Each clan carried responsibilities, justice, welfare, ceremony, and social balance. Power was distributed, not concentrated. Decision-making was slow by design, built around consensus rather than coercion. This wasn't inefficiency, it was institutional integrity in action. Leadership itself was dual. Peace chiefs guided diplomacy and internal harmony. War chiefs emerged only in times of threat. Power shifted depending on context, reflecting a political psychology that prioritized balance over dominance. This structure shaped a collective mindset rooted in restraint. No leader ruled alone. No decision stood without communal consent. Legitimacy came from trust, not force. Here is a surprising insight. Cherokee governance treated conflict not as failure, but as a signal that consensus had not yet been reached. That principle, deliberation before action, would later echo through constitutional theory across the Atlantic world. Trade networks extended far beyond Cherokee territory, linking them to the Gulf Coast, the Great Lakes, and deep inland routes. These networks required diplomacy, trust, and institutional reliability. Governance wasn't abstract, it was essential to survival. In this early system, we see a society that understood something many modern states struggle with:
Authority is only as strong as the relationships that sustain it. When European powers arrived, the Cherokee faced a destabilizing force unlike any before. Disease, land pressure, and imperial competition shattered old certainties. This was a moment of profound crisis recovery or potential collapse. What's remarkable is how the Cherokee responded. Instead of retreating into isolation, they adapted strategically. They observed colonial legal systems, written law, and centralized administration, not as submissive students, but as critical analysts. By the early 19th century, the Cherokee had developed a written language through Sequoyah's syllabary, an extraordinary act of cultural sovereignty. Literacy spread rapidly, reinforcing social memory and collective identity. Soon after, the Cherokee drafted a written constitution. This was not mimicry, it was translation. Indigenous principles expressed through new institutional forms, separation of powers, codified law, representative councils. These structures were built on centuries-old ethical foundations. Here's the counterintuitive insight. The Cherokee Constitution did not weaken tradition, it preserved it. By formalizing governance, the Cherokee strengthened legitimacy in a world that increasingly recognized only written authority. This period reveals deep political psychology at work. The Cherokee understood that survival now required institutional fluency without ethical surrender. They were navigating a moral dilemma: how to protect societal cohesion while engaging a colonial system that denied their humanity. And then came the ultimate test. Forced removal, the Trail of Tears, was not just a physical displacement, it was an assault on legitimacy, memory, and trust. Thousands died, communities fractured, the moral fabric of a nation was deliberately torn. Yet even here, governance endured. As we walk through this chapter together, we confront an uncomfortable truth. Institutions do not disappear simply because power tries to erase them. The Cherokee carried their constitution west. Councils reconvened, courts reopened, law persisted. This resilience was not accidental. It was rooted in a collective mindset that separated identity from geography. Land mattered, but so did law, memory, and shared responsibility. In Indian Territory, the Cherokee rebuilt schools, courts, and political structures. They debated reforms. They amended their constitution. They governed themselves under conditions designed to make governance impossible. Here is one of the most striking insights of this story. The Cherokee did not define national strength by victory. They defined it by continuity. Even internal divisions between traditionalists and reformers were negotiated through institutional channels. Conflict did not dissolve legitimacy, it tested it. This is the essence of institutional integrity, the ability to absorb trauma without abandoning core principles.
Today, the Cherokee Nation operates one of the most sophisticated indigenous governments in the world. Its institutions manage healthcare, education, courts, economic development, and cultural preservation. But the deeper legacy goes beyond administration. The Cherokee model challenges modern assumptions about governance. It shows that democracy does not require uniformity, that legitimacy grows from participation, not imposition, that resilience is built slowly through trust. Here's another counterintuitive insight. Cherokee governance demonstrates that written constitutions are strongest when they emerge from lived ethical systems, not when they replace them. In an era of political polarization and institutional erosion, this history matters. It reminds us that societal cohesion is not enforced, it is cultivated. That moral choices made under pressure define not just survival, but identity. We see echoes of Cherokee governance in modern debates about federalism, local autonomy, and restorative justice. We see lessons about crisis recovery, about balancing tradition with adaptation, about political psychology rooted in humility rather than dominance.
This is not nostalgia, it is instruction. As we step back from this journey, we are left with a powerful realization. The Cherokee Nation offers one of the clearest examples of how a society can rise from crisis without abandoning legitimacy or institutional integrity. Their story teaches us that national strength is not measured by conquest, but by cohesion. That resilience is not loud, it is persistent. That collective mindset matters more than any single leader. In a world grappling with distrust, fragmentation, and moral exhaustion, Cherokee governance stands as a quiet blueprint. It reminds us that institutions are moral projects, not mechanical ones. That law without ethics collapses, and that survival without dignity is not survival at all. As we reflect together, we might ask ourselves, not as historians, but as citizens, what kind of governance are we building today? And what ethical foundations will carry it forward when crisis inevitably comes? Thank you for traveling with us. This has been Nations and Notions.